Waiting for people to join. Wait. Oh, and then there's a train. That's awesome. That's awesome. As soon as I start. Nobody's in the room yet, and I don't have a topic. There is someone here, but I can't see who it is. Y'all gonna have to forgive me. There's a train coming, and I can't do this inside. Oh, hi everyone. Man, y'all are quick. What's up? Don't jump on me. We're on TV. We're on TV. He says hello. He's happy I'm off of work. I have no topic. I'm just doing this in the good spirit of keeping the whole chat roulette thing going, and I'm gonna be needing y'all to talk to me, to have something to talk about, because to go for 30 minutes. Keep going, man. Never worried about the sidebar. Just talk, right? For me to go for 30 minutes. Yeah, Robert, you got that niche of just running with it, just rolling with it. I think every time that I try and do this, though, he decides that he wants to chew on me. I think he wants to steal the show. Quit. So how's everybody doing today on this wonderful Friday? Please stop. Baby, I can't. I'm doing something. What's going on, cowboy? I got to scoot out of his leash away. What's going on, Scrappy? Yeah, I wish I lived alone. No, not really. It gets you know, that it's funny you say that. I live in a huge house. I'm very blessed to my uncle, who was he was a truck driver. He was kind of a partier, and son, that hurt. No. I'm sorry. Anyway, my uncle, who was a truck driver and kind of a partier in his younger years, he kind of did like a complete 180 when I was going into my teens, and I thought it was a joke. I just kind of laughed at it. Like he became Pentecostal. He was never a religious man at all. I mean, just drinking beer, going out to the bar every night, partying, and he just completely changed. The Spirit of God came over him, and I couldn't stand it, because so many things that I thought I was going to do going into my teenage years, he was completely against. But I'm glad that I have him here for support, and I don't even remember why I brought that up. Something about I live alone, die alone. But I actually live in a house. I know there's a bunch of stuff on the back porch. We're getting the pool ready. You can see it's empty. Getting the pool ready for the summer. But this is a really long house. That's half of it, and there's the other half. It's really long. But the point that I'm getting at is, at one point there was like 11 people here, and it wasn't really overcrowded. But there have been many times where I've just felt really alone, and maybe that's why I found the outlet to do on YouTube and talk about the spiritual things that I do. Sometimes it's really weird. Sometimes it's funny that I can I just say that it's the Holy Spirit, because there's something that weighs on me, where God's like, you need to make a video about this, and I do it in perfection. But I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm just saying, like, I explain it the way that it needs to be explained, even if I don't look confident to myself, when I'm like, man, I wish I could have did that better. But I'm trying to have the same conversation with somebody at the house to really explain to them some of the things that I've been through. I can't do it. So I don't know. I guess some of the things that I make, it's a message for the people that watch it, But oh, there's the chat. All right. Well, don't dive in. My dog chases the my dog chases the hose whenever I was spraying all the. There's a bunch of green stuff in the bottom. I was talking to Fizzy, and he chases the hose whenever I'm spraying it. That's how I bathe him, because he plays in the water, and I was so afraid he was gonna dive over. But yeah, hopefully it'll be ready in a few weeks. It's actually still kind of cool here. The wind's blowing. It's really nice to work outside. It gets really hot in Louisiana in the summer, and my skin is burning when I'm out in the sun. Something that hasn't really happened before, which is interesting. It just kind of goes with that whole white sun thing. But all right, hold on. I need to pay a little bit more attention to the chat. Does your dog love swimming? Actually, Scrappy, he is. We tricked him into jumping in, chasing the hose the other day, and that was the first I ever saw him comfortable with it, because he was always terrified of the water. I've had other pit bulls, and I brought them down to the river, and they would just jump in. But he doesn't like to get wet. He's like a cat. It's kind of funny. Like he'll, if I throw a ball and it falls in a ditch, he'll just kind of like tiptoe and grab it. He doesn't like it. What? You hear me talking about you? Come here. Come here. You want to tell him hello? He hates it when I talk to my phone. I don't know what those are, Rain. UV. I might have to look those up. I live in Louisiana, cowboy. UVB and UVC. I'm a. What it? What do those mean, Rain? I'm kind of ignorant to. I mean, obviously UV, but I don't know what is that beta. I don't know. I have nothing for the C. Did you ever look at Through the Black? I've seen them. I'm drawing a blank at the moment. Through the Black. No, I did. I mean, I think I'm familiar with them. I'm clueless, JFT. Yep, he's getting electrical. Let's see, but oh, I don't know if that's nice. Oh, yeah, my internet connection is pretty strong. I wonder how far behind. Instead of UVA, ultraviolet rays, now they have B and C. That's interesting. I've never heard of that. Yeah, I was blessed with good skin. Even as a kid, I would get like burnt going to the beach, and I mean, I remember one time I was absolutely like red, like burnt red, and the next morning I woke up and I was tan. I mean, I've always had just a dark complexion when I was younger. Stop. Don't worry about him running off, but he's pretty good. He stays in the yard. He listens well. He's pretty smart too. My brow, like my. What do you mean, Robert? But yeah, he'll chase after anything. But what was I talking about? I'm sorry, I'm jumping off a topic. That's why I like having a topic whenever I go on, because I'm all over the place right now. But hang on, where was that? So when I was a kid, I would get absolutely, like, I remember there was one time I got really burnt, and it was so painful it was hard to go to sleep that night. But when I woke up the next day, I had a dark complexion, and even I was a roofer in New Orleans right after Katrina. I mean, they had so many roofs that needed to be done. They were paying top dollar. I made a lot of money as an 18-year-old kid with no. I didn't really know what to do with it, so I just kind of spent it on stupid stuff. I would buy clothes and expensive sunglasses, and then wear them to the job the next week, because the money was just coming in, and and I never had a problem with the sun. I got really, really dark, and I find it really strange that now, just spending a little bit of time out there, I get like it still burns. Oh, my face. Hopefully you mean my complexion. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's the beard. I'm sorry. Yeah, you know, Robert, I did a video on the skull changes because Nobleness did a video about the skulls, and when I got in my motorcycle wreck, that's an interesting theory. Well, Scrappy, honestly, I do the beard thing because of I don't really understand it. I don't know. There's been sometimes God's told me to shave, and then there's some people that believe you shouldn't cut the ends of your beard. It's kind of at random. Like I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, so the video on the skull thing, Nobleness did a video about the skull. And before I was ever really in the whole truth thing, when I got my motorcycle wreck, I looked at the 4D image of my skull, and I noticed the bones behind the eye because they have the little Y-shaped or X-shaped slits in them, and I didn't know what they were. I thought they were other broken bones, and I guess whenever I realized that no, those are actually behind your eye, I just kind of like, okay, whatever. You know, I thought that was weird. I had never heard about it before, but I wasn't conscious of the Mandela effect. So you know, I was just like, okay, well, something I wasn't taught. Well, Nobleness did the video on the skull, and if you watch some of the things that he's talking about, I don't quite remember. I think some of the changes were like the cheekbones moved up a little. Some of the cheekbones moved up a little bit. And if you go back and watch the video that I made called "Don't Get a Big Head About This," if you look at the 4D image, sorry, one side of my face, now it's all fractured. I have breaks here. I have 2 fractures right here. All this is crushed. You can't really see it, but all this is smushed in and crushed. And I have a giant fracture over here, but the anomalies are like right here. If you look at this side in the video, and you look at this side, they're completely different. It's a 4D image, you know, directly of my face. It might be tilted a little bit, but this side over here looks like original, and this side looks Mandela affected. And I found that weird. And as I was looking at it, at the layers, like you can see the way a 4D image works, it will pick up like little anomalies. Like you'll see things on top of my teeth. Well, that's my gums. You know, it's like shooting through it, but it's picking up a little bit. But if you look at these 2 sections right here, like one of them is it's way up, and the other one is like curved, or it's just a completely different bone shape. And I was looking at that right after, you know, I watched Noble's video, and then I was just looking at the pictures, and I was like, man, that's not the 4D image shooting through and picking up something else, because you could see something in front of it. So the way that those things work, it's not like an X-ray where it just it goes through and it picks everything up. You either get the image on top, or you get the one, you know, that's further. And you can see it's just completely different. It's kind of hard to explain, but the 2 sides of my face, they're not symmetrical. I mean, we're taught, yeah, you're a slightly different shape on either side of your face, but it's completely different, and I found that to be really weird. What's up, Digi? I did this because of you. So, actually, I think I'm sorry. I gotta be connected to the internet to talk to y'all, but not just because you. I appreciate Angie inviting me on chat roulette the first weekend she had it, but I was really nervous, to be honest, because usually I like to, and not necessarily be structured when I make a video. I let the Holy Spirit lead me as to whatever I'm talking about, but to have something to talk about, and today I have no idea. But I'm halfway through it already, so it's a little easier than I thought. All right, I'm gonna scroll back up a little bit because I missed a lot of. Oh, Mandela Man have a beard. Photo's my cousin. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Maybe. Radiation. I hate. I don't know what to do with the dead ear thing. Maybe I'll buy a flute. That's a shot at low angle. So. It's a lot of pressure to not have anything to talk about. Man, Through the Black. I did look it up. I tell you, just got a shofar. Is that somebody babysitting you, JFT, or somebody that, to watch your kids so you and the wife could go out? Yeah, we can make it. So the other video that I made, the very last one, I was talking about what's going on, Stone. I was talking about me being creative and making something and spending a lot of time and energy on it, and then right after doing it, having a distinct memory. I don't know how much I need to stress. Like, this isn't something that I personally don't believe that it's a that whole theory that they can plant memories. That I think that could be possible, but the memories that I have of these specific scenarios are so detailed. And the thing about that argument is how you would literally have to go back in time to show someone that you were there, to remember actually seeing something to prove your point. It's kind of impossible. But it's something that it would be really, really hard to change my mind about these certain scenarios. Maybe other ones that are to come. Maybe there's something that's going to shift again, where that's something that will be pushed, against me. But there have been very detailed, specific things that I've watched, that I've witnessed, that I've seen, and then I have created myself. I spent my own energy and my own time. And it was relevant to the video that I was making, and then right after I put all that energy into it, I remembered that I had already seen it. Now, it obviously, like, I wish I remember the name of the video, but the video I was talking about it might be Perception, but the one where I was talking about the color blue, and how how would you know the difference between the way that I see blue and you see blue? I know that I've seen that before. I watched it before. I was kind of bored by it. That's the kind of irony in it, is that thing, and the thing about the when I was talking about the Mask of Lesser Magic, when the video played with Will Smith, and then it played with the interview with the Church of Satan, and then the Jay-Z song came up. And the pictures from the, not the Pentagon, but the obelisk and the opium fields and stuff like that, I was agitated by it, because I thought it was someone with an agenda against the military in Afghanistan. Like, they had a problem with the soldiers, and I kept turning it off, and it kept popping up. It took a couple months. It wasn't like it just kept popping up on my TV, but I've went through a similar scenario like that, about at least 8 times now. Maybe not that major. Like I said, there's a pretty popular person that does live streams most of the week, which I need to catch up on. And he's a very, very positive person. And when he first started doing his live streams, he had a picture of that rabbit, and it said live stream will begin shortly in the same font that I used. And I don't know what that means, but it's something that I kept taking note of, and I kept saying I'm gonna make a video about it, and then I don't know. I don't know what to do with that information. I guess I made the video yesterday because I wonder. I don't know. I wonder if anybody else, has been through that, has seen that. It's just interesting to me, but I don't know. Y'all got quiet. Oh. All right, Robert, you take it easy, man. I'm kind of out of stuff to talk about, and everybody got quiet. Thank you, brother. You take it easy. Hi, Melissa. Appreciate it, cowboy. I'm not really nervous, to be honest with you. I just don't know what else to say, and I hate to have dead air. Oh, good luck with. I hope you know Chinese math. So Planned Parenthood is having a nationwide rally tomorrow. Well, that's nice. Well, I can tell you, I guess on a positive note, I'm kind of excelling at my job. I actually hired in with a staffing agency, and they like me. I don't know. So I mean, I guess that's a plus, but I will say, connecting it back to the video I made when I was asking for prayer and going through spiritual warfare, I really don't know how to connect it, how to put into words that, excuse me, that there are those around us that are connected to another realm, other than just to say that very vague term, very broad, like there's just this web, and we're in the middle of, you could say, a web, or in the middle of a target, and the surrounding area is full of all these other dots. Yeah, okay, imagine a dartboard, one that's been used in a bar. It's got all those little holes in it, and most of those holes are people or something at the least. Most of them are probably just people, but they have access to another realm, and it really goes back to perception. I know that it's really hard to kind of grasp mentally, because most of us see just the world, and it's, we just work day by day and go on with our lives, but I've experienced people reacting to situations in my life so much, and if you've seen all my videos, then you know what I'm talking about, that it's just undeniable evidence that these people are connected to something that we don't have access to, and I don't believe that we're meant to. I really think that there is a price for the access to that realm. I mean, absolutely, and I honestly believe, because I don't want to say, it's not compassion, but it's I don't even know the word for it, that there are some people that are in situations that they don't want to be in, but they absolutely hate. or excuse me, they absolutely fear whatever the consequences are for them not doing, whatever they're supposed to do, whatever role they're supposed to play. And I've seen that so many times. Back when, if you go back to my very earlier videos, probably the first 3 months I started making them, and all the demonic stuff and all just the really really bad stuff that I talked about. It took me about a year and a half of rejecting, coincidence after coincidence after coincidence, and and just being like that can't be possible, and then it took me rejecting scenarios of people trying to tempt me into just horrible things that was so over the top, that was so things that I couldn't possibly even imagine, but what these individuals perceived me to be. They perceived that, like, please understand what I'm trying to say is that they thought that these horrible scenarios was something that I would want to do. It's so over the top and so just like oh, this is how much we think of this person. That's got to be what it just horrific things, and I guess whenever they saw my reaction to what they were trying to coax me into, like they decided to step back. But I've just seen coincidence after there's no such thing as a coincidence, but there's all these scenarios that keep getting drawn up into these situations where I've seen people talk about me, or they'll say little things that they almost hint at it, like whenever I'd go to work, and some people would say something that happened over the weekend that there's no way. I'm gonna see if I can make it a little bit clearer. I work with a couple people on work release, they're inmates. So on the weekend they go to jail. There's no way that they should know anything about my weekend. But if, let's say for instance, I got in a wreck with somebody in a red car, and I go to work, on Monday, and the first thing somebody says is like, man, I love red cars, they just smash through everybody else. Stuff like that, like, it's undeniable. And I went through a year and a half of rejecting stuff like that, and yet it continues to happen. So again, I don't know how it's being done. I don't know what it is, but there are people that are around us, or at least we perceive them to be people. Again, look at the perception is in the eye of the beholder to understand what I'm saying there. That they have access to just other information that we don't, and I don't know what that means, but I know the only answer is to seek the Father's will. So, all right, I'm gonna jump back up in the chat. So, I'm running out of breath too, because I guess I am a little bit more nervous than I thought I was. Yeah, man, we just try to get people to turn away. Yeah, I would. Well, my friend knows. I really don't want to make this that dark, but I will say Scrappy KJ Osborne. He did a video about how Planned Parenthood they were actually using their waste to in incinerators to keep the hospitals going, of some of that, not even their own. Sorry about that. And it's just a very evil place. It's very ritualistic, and some of the things that they do, we'll take Planned Parenthood for a good example. They offer great things for women's health to get them in the door. That will give you. I don't know a whole lot about them, so please forgive me if I sound ignorant. But they do certain things that are good, that are healthy for women, health conscious. However, like Angela was saying, so sorry. They also say, if you go in there to get a pregnancy test, and they're like, well, the first thing is like, well, do you need an abortion? Do you want an abortion? So they're setting themselves up for something that would be considered an abomination. In the book of Enoch, as most of you know, abortion was one of the things that one of the fallen angels taught. That I can't think of a God made out of complete love that said that was in my plan. And I know that there are all these different scenarios that are placed in front of us to say, well, what about this? What about that? But I don't know. I don't think that it's anything that was ever in my Father's plan. And some of those scenarios that they talk about were never in my Father's plan either. And if He's a just God, then it's just beyond my understanding. But okay, so let me take it back to what I was saying about that. A lot of the people that have, I'll tell you what, my dog ran over there. A lot of the people that introduce themselves to me and become friends with me and want to do all sorts of great things for me to kind of get in the door. Excuse me, it's kind of the same scenario. Hi, Belinda. They're very nice. They're very outgoing. Really, really nice people and people you want to hang around. And it's only later that I realized that there was just bad stuff going on. There was something spiritual there. The carpenter that I work for, that I talked about, he married my aunt when I was about, I might have been 8. I was probably younger. I was probably 5 or 6. And they were married for a number of years, and then he went away. And then whenever he came back, he was just like a cool uncle that I hadn't seen in forever. And without a shadow of a doubt, that dude, the family that we worked for, and the fact that he was coming back to the house and always wanting to talk to my dad every time, and make sure that they weren't within audible distance to me. And then months after, I sent him the text message and said, look, I can't do this anymore. It was on that day that God told me, look, you don't have to. So I sent him the message, I said, you'd be surprised at what I pay attention to. I can't do this anymore. And there was no argument or anything like the day before that. I was in great standing with him. Please understand, this dude, this hard-headed guy that was running his own company, who rushed everybody that worked for him, was just like, that's all good, doesn't matter how much time it takes. Perfect scenario for someone to just a gravy job. I had to tell him, oh, I'm sorry, I bet that is but I walked into a Chick-fil-A to meet someone that I went to school with, who became a pastor, and I was going to tell him about the Mandela effect, and I did later on that night in a meeting, and tell him about some of the demonic stuff that I was going through. This is when I still lived in that trailer, and as I got to the Chick-fil-A 30 minutes ahead of time, because I was so paranoid that time about people, just meeting people and not knowing anything about the whole gang stalking thing. Just the way that, not the way the media portrays them, but that gang stalking experience, the way that everyone is out to get you, it will kind of make you, just kind of like, I don't trust anyone. And I still don't exactly trust anyone, but there's a level of trust. You understand. And the point that I'm making, I walked into this Chick-fil-A, and the guy's son was there, the carpenter, and I didn't see him. I didn't know that he was there. So I'm joyfully, I'm at peace. I'm really excited that I'm gonna meet this friend of mine that I haven't seen since grade school. We used to work on little school projects. I don't. Maybe it's different in Louisiana. You have to either do a science or a social studies project every year, and social studies is generally about history, and the other one's science. Anyway, I knew this kid. We were friends, and I'm sitting there and I'm praying, and I'm like, I'm about to introduce this Mandela effect to this guy, and I see the guy's son, after being there for about 15 minutes, just stand up and just walk. Like, I don't think that he got his food. I don't, because there was, a manager there looking for someone, but that's speculative. But the point is the way that this guy got up. I had no issues with him. Whenever I left, and the reason I tell you so much about that text message is because I sent it to him, and the guy just said okay. He didn't argue with me. It wasn't, come on, what are you talking about? Which I'd have just been like, just shut it down, because I've seen too much. But the guy's son, in the same Chick-fil-A that I did not even know was there, stood up, grabbed his wife and his baby, and yanked them. It was the way that they walked out. You had to see it. Like, he was looking out the corner of his eye. Like, I could tell he was looking back, and I could tell that he had an attitude. Like he was so angry. I don't, you know when you get them feelings where somebody just walks. He's probably 20 feet away from me, but there was so much anger, and just them storming out of there, and the way that she was reacting to him, like, just, I don't know, but it's just, again, the whole coincidence after coincidence thing. It brings me back to there's people out here that surround us, whatever we are, that hate us for whatever reason, that have access to another realm, whether they want us to be destroyed, or they have no choice but to try and aid in our own destruction. I just keep seeing scenarios set up for that. Anyway, I fell back on the chat a little bit. Anyway, I've gone about 8 minutes over. I believe that as well, JFT, at least a little bit. If they're not completely demons, they are. All right, I'm gonna tell you. JFT said they're demons, bro, and I am, Belinda. Thank you, and I'm gonna give you a little bit of back whenever I was living for self and living in that trailer, doing all kinds of drugs. I was absolutely demon possessed, and I made a video about demon possession, and please take that to heart. Go back and watch it if you need to, because we have a perception that we've been geared, the blinders on, to think that demon possession makes your head spin around and makes you look like the poltergeist or the exorcism, and that's not it. Demon possession, you can call it demon light. If I just say that comically, but they try to make you as comfortable as they possibly can. But the reason that I say that is because there was a time I was looking at something, and how long? There was a time that I was looking to go on a cruise. I was lonely, and I was messing around with a couple girls and all, just living for self. And there are some cruises that leave out of the port of New Orleans that are singles cruises, and there are other just completely adult cruises. Like, people pay an extra $1,000 to go on these cruises because they're geared to that arena. And I remember I've never been on a cruise, and I think maybe it's well, anyway. So as I'm looking at these cruises, I they're showing the events and the roster, not the roster of people, but like what they have planned. And one of the things that they had planned was basically this giant free for all, um, just anything goes, just a giant room with a huge mattress on this boat, and anything goes. And but you had to be invited to go to that section of the boat. And I remember thinking, if I pay this extra $1,000, and this is during the time that I'm going, I'm still doing drugs, but I'm experiencing all this stuff, and I think it has something to do with me just wanting someone else to appreciate me, but but thinking that, well, if I buy this ticket, is that something that I'm gonna be invited to? And I look back at that maybe a month ago, and thinking like, are you kidding me? Like, please understand, like, after explaining, to everyone the whole story about the Madeline thing and God revealing that to me, like, I know very specifically, like, there's only one person meant for me, but to think back to that a year ago, a year and a half ago, whatever it was, like, what, that's nothing but demonic possession, like something like that's nothing that I would ever, you know what I mean? That's so out of my element, and that's not even who I am. So the fact that those thoughts would enter my head, like, is that something that, that if I, you know what I mean? Like, geez, that just makes my skin crawl. Like, please understand that. And so the point that I'm making is that something, yes, that extreme is probably a good example of the way that demons work, because that's not me. That's not who I am, and I hope no one sees me that way. But there was a point where that thought entered my head. Well, is that something that I could be invited to? Because I'm not going to spend this extra $1,000, which I didn't go on the. That's just so outside of anything that I want to be into. But I'm just saying, like, these demons, that they're very crafty, and they're making you think that whatever thought enters your own head not only is a good idea, but it's your own thought. It's something that you want to do. Knowing that, I hope that everyone knows enough about me to see that that's way outside of my personality. Like I would be so uncomfortable even in the element on the same boat with any of those people. Like, that's not, yeah, anyway. But demonic possession is not what we see, on in Hollywood. But anyway, my battery's running out, and yes, thank you, Digi. I need to pick someone else for chat roulette, because I'm about to run out of battery, and I need to go get a shower. Hang on. Oh wait, if I turn it sideways, it's gonna turn my I think that's possible, Scrappy, but there are people working with demons overtime. I think that they do have certain technology where they can project certain things. But there are people that surround us that are working with demons. And they use them to their advantage as best that they can to place us in situations where we'll falter, where we'll do the things that we're not supposed to do. But I really do have to. Yeah, I do need to get off of here, because if not, my phone's just gonna cut off on y'all. Does anybody want to go? I mean, I could just randomly pick, but thank you for everybody for showing up. Yeah, Ramsey, please. It's gonna be about 10 minutes for me to get over there to you, but I will definitely I will definitely come over there. Hi, Deb. All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming. I hope that I didn't just ramble all over the place, and I hope y'all got some insight out of it. And I guess I'll see y'all later. Y'all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in just a minute, Ramsey. All right. God bless everybody. I don't know how to turn it off. Why do I keep forgetting how to do that? Yes, I do. All right. God bless everybody. Bye.